The question is, why, Judah, have we not heard you speak about the trans community? It is very simple. The implication of the questioner was that we are avoiding the topic, and there is absolutely no avoidance to the topic. We will say this. We have not mentioned it because in our mind it is a given. You see, it is a given that any trans person per se that addresses or defines themselves with that understanding of their being is a welcome member of this family. This family is for all persons at all times who are seeking awakening and enlightenment. And there is no one excluded from the agenda here. The agenda being love, awakening, and enlightenment. And so we welcome our trans friends. And we would say that here you will find safety in that you will not be disregarded or treated any differently than any other, and you will be accepted as you are. Now, we want to talk about this prefix trans, T-R-A-N-S, trans, because part of the question was, how do trans people fit into the global evolution? This prefix trans it indicates to move, transportation, transportation, transmutation, transfiguration, transmuting. You see, one of the things that we are constantly doing in this work with you is we are teaching you how to transform, T-R-A-N-S, transform yourself into what you really are, which is a perfect, eternal soul, blameless, flawless, full of divine white light and love. And so this prefix is a beautiful prefix. And so for the trans people, we also say transformation, transfiguration, transmuting of lower dense energies, being transformed into your higher self. Be your higher self, and you are welcome here in your transformation. And so may all beings, no matter what their orientation, skin color, background, whatever your 3D and 4D constructs or definitions or attachments or experiences have been, you are welcome here if your aim is to be the beautiful, perfect, higher dimensional soul that you are, that lacks nothing and has no limitation. And so we do not deem any people group of any sort, of any definition, to have limits, liabilities, or limitations. You are all unlimited beings. Your souls are remarkable and full of divinity. And so we hope even for these ones brought up in the questions that each and all of you may begin to drop and relinquish attachments to labels and words that define you, because all labels, even the good ones, even the best of them, are limiting your understanding of your vastness and what you can achieve in this incarnation. Now, what else may we do for you this evening?
Is there any truth or any validity to maybe when one incarnates as one sex many times in a row, and then changes in the next incarnation, have any kind of influence on how they feel more comfortable in the sex that they were before they incarnated in this sex.
Yes, that is sometimes the case, that if a soul has incarnated as one gender for many lifetimes and then chooses to return as the other gender, there is sometimes an attachment that the soul has to the prior gender role. And so this can be a sum of the transition can manifest as this transgender role. Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
We would say that these issues are not something that we struggle with in these dimensions at all. These we are very at ease with your progress, your evolution, how you identify with gender, and so on. And it's a non-issue for us. We don't quite relate to all the hubbub around all of it. And we wish everyone could relax around these gender roles and decisions. And our stance always is to trust the soul in regards to their choices of how they express the soul through in the realm of personality, which includes gender. Non-interference is our stance.
Yes, it's not an issue for me either. We're all one, we're all the same, it doesn't matter. But it would just seem like maybe sometimes, if it was because they incarnated as a certain sex so many times and then changed, that it might be better not to go through a change physically, because then maybe they would have to reincarnate again in that sex and go through it again.
Well, what we will say to that is we would encourage our trans friends, as you call them, we would encourage them to look deep within and embrace and fully love themselves as they are. And we would encourage this pursuit above all other things, and that any choices they make around their gender expression comes from a place of complete and total love and acceptance. We would encourage them not to make changes around their gender expression based on pressure from others or need for approval or acceptance or any sort of fear-based egoic constructs or strategies. Best to sit still with the self and find within the divine, complete and total divine love and acceptance for the self as the self is. And allow oneself to just be what you are. To just be what you are, which can be, we understand, particularly challenging for these if there is a lot of pressure from family, friends, community, the culture to be something other than what they are. But only the soul knows. Only the soul knows the path that is true and right and peaceable for that one. And so we would say, whatever you do, however you express yourself from a place of peace and from a place of unconditional love for yourself and others. And to all, we would say that who you are is far grander and larger than your gender. And sexuality is a beautiful expression of humanity and what it is to be human, and a joyful part, we hope, of your experience. However, it is a very small part in the scope of eternity of who and what you are. And who and what you are is beyond gender roles. When we speak through this woman, we do not come across as a woman, do we? We come across with great authority, with the yang expressed through her yin, with the male expressed through her female. And so her emotions, her stature, her frame might be feminine, but her spirit can be very masculine, you see. And the reverse can be true for others. And the realization of enlightenment is the marriage of male and female in the soul, yin and yang, weak and strong, light and dark. That is the essence of enlightenment.
Is it possible that the most balanced person, as far as male and female goes, would be like if they had a male body, they would be 51% yang and 49% yin, or 40, in other words, 49% feminine and 51% masculine. Would that be the most balanced that a person could be?
Well, we will say along those lines that as a man, a very masculine man, which you are, to be highly evolved is to be able to be loving and nurturing and feminine in your responses.
Yes.
And for your wife being very feminine as she is, and very loving and nurturing and gentle, to be fully evolved for her is to also express the authority of that a man expresses, which we do through her regularly, even in this moment. You see, she is expressing the masculinity of the spirit. Does that make sense?
Yes, so I think what I'm hearing is it doesn't matter about percentages. It's just that the person should be able to express the opposite. If they're a female, be able to express their masculinity, and if they're masculine, should be able to express their femininity.
Yes, it is likened to this. If you think of roughly 50% of population is male and 50% is female. And if you are to operate together as one unit, as one body, as one consciousness, as one divine expression of God, imagine a metaphor for a moment that your body, that the left half of your body was inoperative. And only the right half of your body worked. Or imagine if the top 50% of your body functioned, but the lower 50% did not. You see, it is out of alignment for any culture, any people, to subjugate women or to subjugate men, which is not the case in your modern history. But to deny the full expression of a woman is to deny half of yourself. If a country subjugates 50% of its population, then they are only operating at 50% of their possibility, of their vision, of their power, of their spiritual destiny. They are like a lame person whose half of their body has gone limp, has been rendered unfunctioning, and they must drag that half of their body everywhere they go.
Does the history of men repressing women, is that because men know that women are more powerful? because they can create life?
Well, we would say we feel as much for the plight of men being in a dominant state as we do for women. For men in having usurped power and taken upon themselves to own and operate in all the power, having taken it away from women, they have put a tremendous burden upon themselves, which is more than they can bear. And there are many, many men who are currently, their spirits are literally breaking under the weight of the expectations they have to be strong, to be diligent, to provide, to never allow anyone under their care to come to harm. The expectation that they be perfect in their provision and their care, offering of safety to others, and frankly, it's quite too much for them to bear. So the patriarchy, you're asking, has it oppressed women? Well, yes, but it has equally and perhaps even more so oppressed the men that have participated in it. And they have become a fraction of the beauty of their soul.
Yes, I see that. But but that doesn't mean that if there was a man and a woman were together and there was a dangerous situation, is it still okay? Is it still right that the man steps forward and takes the action?
Well, certainly it is obvious to see that men have typically their physical frame lends them to strength.
Right.
And the frame of a woman typically lends to more weakness, and so there is an evolutionary component that comes into play in the acting out of roles.
Yes.
You see, but what we would point to, if you looked to intimacy in sexuality, when there is real love and real intimacy, it is a flow, it is a dance, it is a togetherness, it is a joining and a oneness. And this is what we wish to see in the spiritual awareness and dynamics and understanding of male and female. There is a sharing and a harmonization and an understanding. Sometimes the woman leads, sometimes the man leads, but there is a constant deferring and preferring one another in an attitude of love and respect, you see, and giving and taking, giving and receiving, and acknowledging one another's strengths and allowing as they operate together in oneness, playing to the strengths of both.
So is it true that there's two of the more powerful meridians on the body, one we call the governor vessel that runs up the back, and one called the dew that runs up the front, which the exit and opening points are at the genitalia and at the mouth. And so when one is making love, they're connecting at these areas, and it's possible that the circular motion of the energy that runs through the person, which might be up the back and up the front and then down again and creates these circles, that it's possible that if the two could merge, and those meridians could merge with each other, and then they would become one energetically for a while.
Yes, that is correct. And thereby the two become one. And thereby they create a complete and new pathway for life force energy.
Kind of what's called cosmic egg. Mantak Chi, I believe, calls it the cosmic egg. Cosmic circle, cosmic egg, something like that.
And for this reason, we wish that there was that to bring more sacredness to the connection.
Yes.
We would say too much throw away sex, two coming together, and then in disregard of the soul, disregard of the heart, and then afterwards disregarding the person. Good, excellent conversation this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.